Guys, I'm so excited for our guest speaker today. I'm not going to give you the big professional bio because you've either worked with him or, well, you're about to see why you need to work with him, okay? But Joseph Rodriguez is one of the leading business gift, both reps and coordinators in the entire company. You know, Joseph has been spearheading this program, not just about selling business gifts. Like, that's cool. We've heard from Robin Check, we've heard from Totoro, we've heard some really awesome business gift sales reps. And don't get me wrong, Joseph's incredible at that. But Joseph really does this approach this with such a big vision, with such a professional eye towards how to do this effectively, not just as a sales channel, but in a booth. How to like develop relationships with events that can really, you know, lend themselves to this kind of sales, whether it's industry events or even other events. How can he build those kind of relationships? How can he plant seeds effectively in the booth while at the same time really closing the people where the opportunities are there? You know, Joseph is just someone that has a high level strategic way of thinking and approaching his business. But it's funny because kind of like how Curtis gets shoehorned into, he's the script guy, he's the new customer guy. We know he's also really good at a lot of other freaking things. And Joseph, it's wild because now everyone just knows him as, oh, he's that business gift dude. All right. But like, I'm in the Lone Star group me and I watch where it's like, oh, I sold 2 cigs. And they're like, oh, how? And he's like, I don't know, I just asked for the order. And they're like, oh, bet. Okay. But like he drops just wild packages left and right. And I don't want to speak for him. I mean, hell, we've got him here. Why would I? But I think that my takeaway is the same confidence, the same proficiency, the same professionalism that allows him to talk to business owners about investing $5, $10, $25,000 into their business relationships. I think that same confidence also really allows him to work with Mrs. Jones or your average clients and customers and just help position packages, bundles, and bigger options as a really logical and practical thing. And it just shows in his results all across the way. I also love Joseph because he was at Carlton's wedding, but it was awesome because he showed up after the wedding just for the reception. So I'm not even calling you out. That was just a strong move. It was a strong freaking move, man. And I loved it. I was like, damn, no uncomfortable bench, but still cake. Shit, this guy's living the high life. But all joking aside, guys, our friend, our family member for the State Fair of Texas, and really the master of this craft. Let me go and turn it over to Mr. Joseph Rodriguez.
Awesome. Thanks for that intro. I wasn't late. No, okay, I wasn't on time though. But when I was talking to Brad, he was asking me to talk about a couple things. So I kind of I'm going to bounce around a little bit. And then if there's questions that you guys have on a certain subject, please let me know. And what I'm taking a lot of the information is we've been doing coaching with like Jason's group. So I took a lot of the key parts that we already kind of went over that actually help people kind of propel forward. So I'm just going to kind of go different areas, right? So the first thing, I'm going to do what we did for like our 3-month overview, right? We basically took all the main things that we needed like in the first 3 or 4 months, and I just kind of crammed it into this one part. The first thing is like your mindset. If you think if what you want to have in your mindset with the business gifts is just, you know, think about where you're going to be 2 to 5 years from now. Think about like every person that you talk to. If you know everybody that in front of you, they will always spend more money on a business for their own business than they will for their personal self. So I've seen people where they won't spend $500 on themselves, but you ask them for their business, all of a sudden they're going to spend $5,000 or $10,000 for themselves. It's kind of crazy. So also just work backwards for you. Ask yourself which systems are working for you, which ones you're using. Do you have your CRM? Do you have your texting in place? Do you have the people in place that do the back end work, right? That's probably the biggest thing that I'm working on this year is just building that bigger and bigger. Like this week, I've interviewed about 4 companies that are just going to be doing virtual work for like follow-up, right? So once you kind of get this process in place, you can actually have people kind of do a lot of the tedious work for you, but you got to do it yourself first. That's kind of the name of the game, right? Do you have your Trello? Do you know what the Trello is? Trello is your project manager. So that way you can have all your different projects and everything else that you're juggling there. The one thing that I will tell you for like the booth scenario is like, you never know who's in charge, even if they're not the owner. Right. And I'll tell you kind of this quick story is, it was like when I was first trying to do business gifts, I met this lady, I hard sold her on a pair of shears, and it was like the hardest sale ever. Little did I know she was the actual decision maker, and it had nothing to do with the owner. So I ended up calling her a week later, and she plays like a $10,000 to $15,000 order over the phone. Never even met the owner. but you never know who you're talking to. And that's why I want to let you know that everybody you talk to, you should do a pitch for. It doesn't matter if they're the owner or not. That's like the number one thing that I focus on. It's almost like when I go to the booth, the residential orders are kind of my salary, right? Because we all know they're going to happen and they're very easy. But the bonus is actually the business gift owner, because maybe you only get one or two business owners at the booth, but that can lead up to like a 5, 10, 15, 20K order, which can be your whole entire month in some cases, right? So that's kind of like the mindset that you guys need to have. And I'm going to skip down here. Okay, so the best thing to do is, does everybody have like their business gift kits? Because like I know this is some kind of like basic stuff, but I'm going to put this here in the chat so that way you guys have it here.
I'm guessing most of the team does, but probably not everyone. So feel free to lay out anything from that, or just things you think are even more important than what comes standard.
Okay, cool. So I went ahead and put these different things here. I put Hardy slicer, 10-inch, 8-inch Sentoku slicer, Sentoku trimmer spreader, Sentoku plastic gift box, 7-inch Sentoku gift box, petite Sentoku drop point, clip point, gut hook, and then of course your lockbacks. These are going to be the most important. If you decide to get anything in your booth, get that. And then you also want your K bars and your giftology book. I'm going to put that here, giftology book. Has everybody ordered their giftology book in this group? And if you haven't, you should read it. Setting up your binder, download and laminate your business gift page, and then setting up your Cutco kit, and basically setting up your CRM too, which is really important, right? So these are all the basics to basically get what you need at the booth. And I'm going to kind of jump into the next thing, which is how to do like the actual follow-up, right? So does anybody have like a process in place that they currently do? Raise your hands. Right. Okay, cool. Couple people. All right. I'm going to share this here. Do you mind if we play a quick video, Brian?
Dude, this is your time, man.
All right.
I think I made you a co-host.
Okay. Can I go ahead and share my screen somehow?
That homeowner for the next 10 years gonna look at your
Can you see that?
Most people, say about 90% of people can't remember their lender, their realtor, their roofer, their subcontractor.
We can hear it, but we can't see the video. But
okay,
I just made you co-host, so you might try again.
Okay, cool. So the first thing that I've actually created, and I'm going to run through this so that way we're all kind of on the same page here. Oops, let's share it again. Okay, I created this little kind of cheat sheet here, right? This is a sheet that I share with everybody now. It actually makes it extremely easy, right? It's kind of like having a presentation book, but all organized here. So the first thing I do is, like most people, when you pitch them the idea of Cutco, they'll go try to relate to their boss or, you know, the owner or the VP or whomever, right? And all the words kind of get jumbled up. So I actually made a video with one of my best customers, and he's a roofer, and the title of it's like why I spent $15,000 on Cutco, right? So we're just gonna watch it real quick so that way you guys watch it. I hate watching this video because like I'm in it, and I don't know if you guys are like me watching yourself play back again. I'm like, man, I fucked up, right? So, but we're just gonna play it real quick just for the sake of watching it, and you can pick up some tips on just the pitch if you haven't got the pitch down correct. Okay, so we're just gonna watch this for a couple minutes.
That homeowner for the next 10 years gonna look at your logo. Most people, let's say about 90% of people can't remember their lender, their realtor, their roofer, their subcontractor. Not only after 5 years, after 10 years, they will not forget about you, right?
Oops, damn it.
That homeowner for the next 10 years gonna look at you. After 10 years, they will not forget about you, right? I know how much roofers love giving gifts to their clients, and I also know that you absolutely suck at it. Let me tell you, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen you giving them your t-shirts, your hats, and you think someone cares for it? I'm calling you out. Stop giving away gifts that mean something to you, but not for your clients. In this video, I'm gonna give you a few advice, actually one advice about the best of the best gift you can give to your clients. I'm here with Joseph from Cutco, and you're about to see the ultimate gift to your homeowner. Listen, how about you give them something that's valuable to them, something that they will use it for the rest of their life, will be in their kitchen, always reminding them of roofing company you use. Joseph, show them Roofing Insights gift we've been giving to our clients for the last few years.
Yeah, this is one of the probably the best gifts that we've actually seen, and I love the logo the way it comes out here. But basically, what we do is we take our product, we put your logo on there, and we turn it into a gift that lasts truly forever. If you haven't heard of Cutco, we are like the Snap-on, the Rolex of knives, warranted forever. Your customer needs some sharpened or something happens, even if it's like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, it's all free forever. So, but basically, our gift will be used every single day for the rest of our life.
Here's the thing, guys. I want you to really, really think and brainstorm about this. Let's say you give them Yeti cup. Like Yeti is a good brand. You give them Yeti cup. Where is it going to end up 6 months down the road? Probably in the garbage. They're not going to find it. I never ever seen a person thrown away or losing knife from their kitchen. This knife, by the way, because it's Cutco, people appreciate. They appreciate the quality. They appreciate the attention to detail. They appreciate it not because it's free, but it's from you. And guess what? That homeowner for the next 10 years gonna look at your logo while cutting stuff. And that's where you want to be. You want to be on top of their mind. And this is why this is the best gift you can give to the homeowners. How many knives did we order? This is the last one I actually have. Here in Las Vegas, I'm gonna give it to someone today.
Yeah, I mean, I'll order them from like 20 to probably 100 a year. Just depends on the occasion, what you're giving them for. And
For my Storm Group Roofing, I think we were doing like 50, 60 at a time.
about so, yeah. Yeah.
So you're in the high ticket business. This is $150 knife, which is nothing. You sell $10,000, $15,000 job, give them $150. By the way, don't try to bribe them for the review. Give it to them after they review it. They give you a 5-star review, come back to them, say, hey, so the review, appreciate it. Now you know they like you. Now you know they're gonna refer you. They probably told you they're gonna refer you. Give them a knife so they don't forget to refer you. Because you don't want to be that guy who, when other roofer asks who did your roof 5 years ago, they don't remember. Give them this knife, not only after 5 years, after 10 years, they will not forget about you, right?
Exactly. And we find that like most people, let's say about 90% of people can't remember their lender, their realtor, their roofer, their subcontractor. So if you're just a contractor and you want to be remembered 5, 10 years from now, you want to be talked about versus the next guy that just knocks on your door and steals business from you, this is a great way to brand your business in their kitchen, taking up the number one place where they have the most real estate that will last literally forever. So that's where their friends and family are going to talk about you. That's where it's going to create a conversational piece. And unfortunately, a gift card, a gift basket, nothing can do that. And kind of like what you're saying about the Yeti cup, nothing wrong with Yeti. The problem is now there's people with 30 Yetis in their cupboard. So you just can't differentiate yourself. So if you want something that's going to last, that people are going to use, that people remember, this is probably one of the best things that we sell.
Absolutely. Joseph, coming to Roofing Process Conference in December. I invite you guys as well. You've been with Friends of Roofing Insights for years now. We're just become good friends over knives. I'm a vegetarian now. I don't even eat meat, and I have a huge set of knives. The first thing he told me today, he's like, I can't believe you bought the biggest Cutco knife sets and you don't eat meat, but I still grill for my family. Another bonus idea I want to give you, it's a great way to recognize people in your company. As a matter of fact, I got, I think, 2 sets from Cutco, and I offered it to my sales reps. And I remember my receptionist told me that she went through divorce and husband get to keep the set. She's like, can you get one for me? So people love them because it means something and it's about them. Gift should not be about you. It should not make you feel good. It should make your customer feel good. I'm going to put Joseph information.
So I just want to share that with y'all because, like, if you guys are having trouble getting the same, just like the same information across to your customer, well, you literally don't have to do it anymore. You just share this video with them and just let them know that, you know, this can apply for any single business. So that's one thing I've been doing for my follow-up. I'll send this sheet over and I'll say something like, let's see here. Yeah, I'll send this over here. And I'll say some, and just to kind of give you a little backstory about that guy. He was he had a roofing company. He's kind of like the Josh of like roofing now. So he has like a big roofing school. So a lot of people follow him, and he has a lot of influence. So if you can find somebody like an industry that you want to target, you can also do something similar. But I'll send them the video. I'll have them watch the video, and then I'll follow up with them. Then it kind of explains the guarantee here. The PDF, so I go over the pricing with them, just like right here. And then the build a set program, and then we also have a drop shipping form here that it's a whole video, explains how to drop ship, how to do a drop shipping program with your customers too. But I mean, this is like the simple part, right? So now I'm going to go over this right here. So does anybody have any questions on this part here? Cool. And do you guys want me to share this link with y'all, and you can kind of make your own?
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you could.
Yes, I would very much love to see that. And so just out of curiosity, this document or this link, this is stuff that you literally just send to customers that covers the high points, Joseph, just so I understand correctly?
Yeah, because what I used to do is I used to send out an email to everybody, and it would say, hey, you know, these are all like, it would be like an intro email, and the intro email is fine, right? But typically what I do now, if I'm at the booth and I'm just like, hey, Brian, like, listen, I know you can't make a decision today. I'm going to just send you this PDF real quick. It's got an overview of everything that I just went over with you here. I sent to them, I'm like, hey, be sure to watch that video with whomever you need to send that to, and have them watch it and then call me, right? Or I'll call you here in a couple of days. So I'll have them watch that video, and whether it's that industry or not, people understand because he kind of goes over all the points in there, and it just kind of clicks. Like whatever they're giving is trash, and this is actually like the right way to do it versus what you've been doing is wrong. So, but
that's incredible, man. I don't know if that's something that, to whatever extent you're comfortable sharing things, we'd be very excited to get a chance to see.
Yeah, I share it here on the doc. So, but yeah, and then but like the way that's kind of like the first step, right? And then what I'll do, and they do this like in CGC, but you know, they just have like their leads, right? Wherever they're getting them from. And I have my leads too. And I just follow up with them. And it starts with like simple as a phone call, email, or text. It's got their email, their address, their phone number, and somebody inputs this for me like on a weekly basis. So that's typically what I do there. Now this is some other stuff here. I'm gonna go over with y'all. Let's see. Cool. So this is kind of like my step by step, right? And I'm kind of going over it fast because there's a lot of information that I'm kind of packing in 3 calls into one, just so y'all know. So feel free to ask me questions. So the first step is enter into CRM, put into a spreadsheet, call them, text them, email them, call them again, send out a gift depending on the person after a few conversations, treat it like a date. I like saying that because, you know, you wouldn't give a really nice, if you were like Calvin Lopez, like a Louis Vuitton bag on the first date, or maybe you would, I don't know. But you're gambling at that point. So what I like to do is I like to, you know, after having a couple conversations and seeing if it's a good fit for me and them, then I will send out a gift for like the high profile clients or prospects. That's kind of my step. But the first step I send is an email out to a person. I send out an email and I send out a personal email. Unfortunately, a lot of the email programs out there, these companies sometimes are highly, I guess, blocked. So a lot of your stuff will go to spam. So I send out a email, like a generic email, and then I send out a personal email also. And you can put something as simple as this. It was great meeting at the show last week. I hope you found some great items at the blank show. Following up on our conversation when you came by the booth, we use gifts to help build relationships with employees, suppliers, referral partners, clients, and more. Here's a link to a bit more about the company and how we can take on the whole gifting process from custom engraving to gift wrapping and drop shipping directly to your clients. For you with hand addressed cards, we serve as your gifting team, handling all the logistics. And then that's just the business program overview, right? Now you can create your own and make it all pretty. I always recommend getting somebody that does graphics involved and creating like a nice graphic. Employee retention program attached. The program is designed to put a yearly employee gift. This basically just talks about the build a set program, right? Then the main goal is to get an appointment time. That is the number one goal when you're actually following up with people. It's not to sell them on the spot. It's not to close hard right there. It's to just get an appointment time and then actually have a focus time where you can talk about the gift ideas, how they're going to use it, where they're going to use it, how many they need, what their goal is, and a little bit about their business, and get to know them. Here you can also put your like a acuity link in there or your scheduling link so they can actually pick a time. The second email I put on a client drip to educate them, right? Because this is usually, I'm trying to think what I put here. Like I have another email system basically that tells them all about the products on why they should be doing it, right? Third step is I make a phone call. Then I send out a text message. This is Joseph, the Cutco guy. I wanted to follow up with you and see if there's a time we can grab a call for 10 minutes regarding the gifts. Real simple. Then I add them on LinkedIn. Then I use a I have another text messaging program where I can follow up with them too. I use a different program so I can keep them separate. And then I kind of repeat this process over and over until I get a hold of them. Because most of my business that I do, it's literally on the phone. It's on the phone, it's on Zoom. So like if you're gonna be working that day, wear some pants, right? Wear a nice shirt so that we can always jump on a Zoom call. So that's my biggest advice right there. So once I reach out to them, I go ahead and repitch what we talked about and reconfirm everything they're looking at. And I'll say something like this. Hey James, it's Joseph, the Cutco guy. Remember me, the Cutco guy, the guy with the cool logos on the knives? I just wanted to touch base and see if you ever received my email with this information you asked for. Most time they never read it, so I'll resend that one-page PDF again. No worries. I know we get all busy. I wanted to see if you have a moment right now to go over it, or if there's another time where you can be in front of your computer, phone, etc., and go over it. I always prefer your computer so I can share the items. Best thing is Zoom if they're willing to. And then great. Well, let's set up a time for that date. Lock in a time, right? Email them a Google Calendar or QD scheduling. Once you get them on the phone, you'll ask them to pull up that document called the Business Gift Program Overview, which I shared with y'all. Here you'll simply walk through them through the different files and a general overview of everything, so you can watch it with them just like I did with y'all, and you will walk them through the whole business gift pricing and treat it exactly as if you were at the booth, right? Don't be afraid of the phones, right? You can listen to some Grant Cardone's calls. I tagged this one here. I was listening to earlier. And I remember years ago, I was always afraid of like asking for a big order. I was always afraid of like, what if I say something wrong, they can just hang up on me, right? So like you got to learn not to be fearful of the phone. I know it's like sometimes beginner thinking, right? But the truth is like a lot of people don't get on the phones anymore. It's easier to send out a text message. It's easier to send out like any type of text. So your best friend and the way you're going to make the biggest sales is over the phone and through email, technically, which is kind of crazy. Those are good for like reorders, or just a lot of people are in communication and email, so you want to do that too. Quotes, the quote is just a PDF. Maybe just give 1 to 2 tiers off the normal pricing. So I'll say something like, hey, Brian, if you want to get that today, I know you want to do 100 of them. They're 107. We do the next tier pricing, which is 102. Special quotes. Now, if you set like a special pricing, then you'll have to make a PDF or Excel with pricing if you really want to get that sale, I guess, right? Like I have some big orders I'm working on, and I have to do some really special pricing and create all these quotes and things like that. And it was a little more extra work on my part. And then give them a deadline, and then follow up. Not ready at all. Create urgency specials, pricing going up. I tell people that Christmas is the worst time to do gifts. Worst time to do gifts is educate them on how they should be doing gifts. Once you're in the follow-up process, depending on the size of the order and the customer, how good the conversation is, I like to start mocking up something for them. So like if I've already gone through the process of like, hey, this is a good customer and I think they're really going to buy big, I'll pay for the $50 digitizing fee, and I'll get a mock-up done for them and I'll email it to them. You can also do this for free, by the way. I think you can do it on Word, and you just like highlight, or I don't know. There's a gradient where you basically change it. You just put it on the knife and you just send it to them, and it's kind of goes that extra step. The 7 is Santoku. You can actually go to Vector Connect under samples and order like a ton of these all the time. You can order as many as you want, and it doesn't affect your 1/3. You can go above and beyond and get their logo and put on the knife and send it to them depending on what they're looking for. I follow up after they received it, and I use it to my advantage, obviously. Did you get the gift? Yes. How'd you like it? It's awesome, etc. No one has ever got me something like this nice. That's what you always hear. Mr. Customer, wouldn't it be nice if we could transfer the same level of feeling to all of your customers the way you're feeling now, right? They're like, oh yeah, man, this was awesome. Like I was so happy to get this. Thank you. And then you kind of repeat the process of the closing steps. This might get into group closing. This requires a Zoom or email with all parties. So I'll jump on and be like, hey guys, if you can't make a decision right now, totally understand. Who makes the decisions? Oh, it's like 4 of us. Cool. Can we jump on a Zoom call on Friday at 2 p.m.? And then I go over the whole pitch and I close everybody at the same time. And I'm like, everybody's on board? Good. Let's go. Let's move forward, right? Whether it's like 5 gift seats, 10 gift seats, and then we do like the closing process. Things I also send depending on how I rank the client. I can do like postcards. I can send a giftology book. I can send a catalog. I can send a knife to all the decision makers. I can send a thank you cards. I can send deadline cards, right? There's a lot of processes that these are just depending on what it is you want to do to create more urgency and create a sale right now. But the number one thing, if you get anything from this, is like you got to make the phone calls. You got to send up the texts. You got to give them the information that they actually need that they can make a decision. Because I find that a lot of reps are like, well, I don't like, why aren't they buying? It's like, well, they don't have the menu. You got to give them the menu. Get them the menu. They can make a decision. They can order the lobster, the filet mignon, and then it's good to go. And now the next step after you've completed the order is building that relationship even further and further to get reorders in the future. And hopefully that helps. I think that's a kind of a good summary how to do follow-up.
Oh my gosh. Can I think we're gonna have a lot of questions. That was incredible. I wish we were all live so we could clap for you, but I'm not gonna do weird Zoom clapping because that's stupid. I'm not gonna do that. Can I ask you just to lead up, do you have a few minutes for Q&A first off?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, we're gonna keep you as long as we can. I would love to know if once you have gotten that first order with someone, I've talked to Rob and Check about this a little bit, like getting someone to become, rather than this is just a thing they did, to this is a thing they do, like the reorders. You know, what does that look like for you? Do you have a timetable where you're automatically sending out follow-ups? Because I know it's a different, you know, it's different how fast people are going through their gifts. So what does it look like? Someone ordered 50 knives from you, and what do you do with that in the future to try and convert that to, you know, additional orders?
So like it all starts from like the prep work, right? So right here is I'll go over the main thing, right? This is the whole pitch. This is the pricing. I'm like, yeah, this is how much it costs, right? And then I'll say something like, hey, by the way, you know, what we find is a lot of companies every single year, they're pounding their head against the wall. Like, what do we do this year? What do we do this year? What do we do this year? So what we have done as a company is we've created a build a set program for all our customers, right? This is where you can pick out 100 different gifts 100 different times, right? So next year what I'll do is I'll go ahead and follow up with you around this time frame. That's when most companies decide to reorder their products. So like let's say this year you want to do that Santoku. Well, next year I recommend doing that Santoku trimmer, and here's why. And then I go over it, and then I kind of already preset it that they're going to be reordering that, and then it's my job to follow up. Or sometimes if you even want to like lock in the order, just say, hey, are you okay with us just locking the second year order right now and just getting a discount on it? And then we can just kind of keep this going. And it's weird because some people now they text me and they're like, hey, Joseph, it's time again for us to reorder. And it's like so cool because like before Rob had that build a set program, I was like venturing off to doing different products, right? Because I was like, I got to find new products. And it's so much work finding new products, by the way. So doing that pitch and perfecting it on the build a set program is so key. And then setting that expectation on like on just like the whole program as a whole and why they should do it is probably the best conversation that you can have. So the sale is actually not done until you've actually had that conversation. And if you even want to go further, you can even set up like a date to get a reorder. So what we're doing in place of that for some of the people that we didn't do that for is like we run the sales, and then I'll call them and I'll say, hey Brian, it's Joseph. I don't know if you saw like our spring sale going on right now, but a lot of my customers right now are reordering for the holidays or for X, because I don't know if you remember, but like December we ran out of product and I had a lot of customers angry. So because you're a good customer, I'd like to help you reorder right now so we can just kind of knock it off our plate and do it in 6 or 12 months. If it's something that you're planning on doing. And then now I have the objection if they're like, oh, well, I don't know, we're going to go a different direction. I'm like, well, can I ask what you're doing? And then I don't try to put them on the defensive, but I try to agree with them and say, yeah, those are great, but can I tell you what typically happens? People round back because this happens and this happens and this happens. Like, we've gone through all the gifts. Like, I'm the guy that has literally gone through like 10 or 15 gifts trying to find it for other companies. And I will tell you, this is the best gift and this is why. And it's the easiest gift too. So if I can take off that headache, I can take off that pressure off your team on sitting down for 3 weeks trying to decide on what gift to give and countless staff meetings, like, would you be open to that? Because how much are you guys losing trying to decide on what gifts? So let's just make this an official program with your company. And then you just got to keep moving forward. So it's kind of planting the seed, long-term seeds.
Damn. This is very different from my current gifting strategies and experiences.
And that's perfect the way you said it, because it is definitely a strategy. It's not a sale. It's a strategy, right? I'm trying to think, like when I said in the very beginning, where do you want your business to be 2 to 5 years from now? Well, it's what you're doing today to build it out, and the phrases you're using and the words you're using to build out that system. Like, you're literally building it into existence. But if you're not, then you will always keep on chasing the sale over and over and over again.
That is phenomenal. Questions, guys. What other questions do y'all have?
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it, Coyote.
What's up, Joseph? First question I have, do you have anybody on subscription programs? If so, what has been your experience with it? And if not, why are you not? Or like, what's keeping you away from doing that?
Yeah, I have a couple people on there. And like, what typically happens is they just, like, I guess I haven't mastered the subscription program, right? But I definitely have learned when I've talked about the drop shipping and turned it into like a 12 pay, that it's like every order is a minimum of $5,000. That's what I've learned, because now you have that business owner that wanted 20, but you're like, well, why don't we just do 40 and cover the whole year? Because there's no expiration date. And you told me you're going to reorder anyways. And it is a better deal if you do, because I can do deeper discounts. So why don't we just kind of do it all at once on a 12 pay? And that's what I have found is like the 12 pays are kind of the way to go. But I do have a couple of people, I don't know how to phrase it properly to do the subscription every year yet. I know there's some people that have done it like in CGC, but it's kind of different with the different pricing and stuff. But I think you just kind of pitch it as an annual meeting, and you want to go over kind of what they did last year and get the reactions and stuff like that. But kind of what you do after the sale, I would say, is just kind of the most important, like the prep work.
And then one thing I was going to ask too, you touched on Trello, but I don't know if a lot of like the people that have worked industry events and been in that meeting know what it is, but I think it's a game changer for me. I think if you touched on that a little bit, it would help the team a lot.
Yeah,
Sure.
I put that in my notes to look up what the hell is Trello. I don't have the slightest idea what that even is.
So if you're like most people, like you or me, like a year ago, it was like just like a bunch of notes in your phone. It was spreadsheets all over the place. Need to get done, right? To-do list like everywhere. So what we do now is we actually do like a whole, it's kind of like a project management system. And I have one for like business gifts. I have one just for everyday stuff. I have like the industry events team, like everything marketing, for admin, for the Airbnb stuff, and I have it all on here. And I make everybody get on there, and we're all on the same page, and it's all getting checked off the list. So we kind of run through it like on a like today was my call where I spend like 30 minutes to an hour with everybody, and I just go over what needs to get done, and then I keep on adding projects on there every single week. And then we go over everything that we need to go over if there's any questions. Can you see that on the screen share? I think
Yes. Oh yeah, we can see it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's probably the game changer for me that I did like 2 years ago, just to kind of get organized in my business, right? And then this you can start sharing and, just having more teamwork on the back end without pulling out your hair. No offense, Brian.
That's fantastic. Who else has got questions? So not important one, but just out of curiosity, you mentioned using giftology quite a bit. I've got a copy I keep at the booth, like I'll mention it. I'll use it as a credibility tool, but it sounds like you're leveraging it. Like you're actually giving it to business owners or sending it out occasionally. How do you feel you use that? And is there any resource you have? Do you just buy them in bulk through Rulin's group, or are you literally just jumping on Amazon and just shipping things directly to people?
I mean, mostly it's like I have it at the booth. That's the first thing. And it's always for that business owner that thinks he knows it all. So I have to build up giftology on how awesome it is and how he's the number one person and how he's been more influential than any other rep in our entire company. And he's done it through gifting, right? And then if I tell them why they should be doing gifting and I educate them and they're like, oh, that's stupid. And I'm like, well, here's like the reason why you should do it. Here's like living proof of one of the guys. And there's so many people that are doing this blueprint, right? Which is like the best practice for gifting. And you're telling me it's wrong. It's usually like the person, it kind of hits them, or they're just so prideful that they think they know it all and they're not going to listen to you. But as far as like ordering them, I just tell people about it and then they just order it. Or once in a while, like I'll send out to like people that have purchased from me and then they actually understand like the full circle. And then you'll find those people come up and they're like, I read the book, and they'll do the whole pitch better than any other rep that's there. And you're like, okay, you actually understand because you read the book and you understand like the science and the mentality behind it. But that's how I kind of use it. Is I use it for certain type of people that just don't get it yet. And then once they get it, they're on the same page as you, and you can have a conversation about what's effective and what's not effective. And like, I'll tell you right now, I had a conversation with one of the guys on the industry events team this morning, and it was so funny because I was like, hey, what are you doing to like get these big reorders? And he's like, man, I'm just sending out gifts to like the assistants. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, that literally sounds like giftology. He's like, yeah. He's like, that's what it is. I'm taking the entire playbook, which is literally a playbook, and I'm using it as a strategy in my business. And I'm like, yeah, that's the trick, is like deepen your relationships through the gifting, through the little things that make the big difference.
Nice. Well, I don't want to bogart all the time for questions, but one other last quick question from me. I've seen where certain people, Vast might have this. I've seen a few people that offer kind of like monthly email drips to either prospective business gift customers or current customers, and it's just more like, I don't know, general things on corporate gifting or things like that.
Sure.
Do you have anything like that you endorse, you offer, or just any thoughts on that in general? Is that unnecessary communication? Is it white noise, or is that valuable?
So I mean, we have one that like I kind of set it off to the project on the side. We made 4 or 5 months of it, and basically what I did is I helped rewrite a lot of kind of the education part of it, and we were going to do it as a monthly drip, and then I hired a professional writer to rewrite it exactly to make it sound professional. So we're working on that, but I definitely think it helps a lot, just because maybe somebody won't read the whole book, right? But maybe they get a paragraph or two that they see and they're like, wow, right? That's awesome. I get it. Because like the whole point of, I think when you're selling a service, right? Whether like, cause that's what we're selling. We're selling a service. It's not a product. It's a service that enhances their business, enhances their relationships and so forth. And we started thinking about that is like, you want to educate people on your services. And if you're not educating on your services, you're just showing them high quality knives. And it's two different things. And I think a lot of people get that confused. So when I tell people, I'm like, yeah, we offer a service. We're not selling you a product. We just happen to have a product that we use in the service, right? And we use one of the best products to make that service high level for you. That's the most effective. But I think once you kind of connect those two things in your mind and you really start talking to someone like that, they understand it. Because if I would go to, I'm going to say Brett, because he's a contractor, right? He is a contractor. He does what was that stuff you do again? The power wash, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you do power wash, you contractor, right? You can either do yourself or sub it. Well, if I could help you, right, strengthen your relationships without you even lifting a finger, and all you had to do was give me a list and a credit card, would you do it
Yep.
and make you look like a rock star? And like, what would you be willing to spend per client to enhance that relationship? Like, I'm talking about all the general contractors that are referring you business. I'm talking about all the home builders, like where you could just have like endless referrals, and also like superstars that are just going to be raving about you all the time. And it only costs you 100 to 150 bucks a head. I mean, you would do that all day, right? They're basically your salespeople on steroids because they're also using your service. So that's what we figured out. We figured out a way to do that using the Cutco product and putting the whole system together, and we're just selling you the package. So you just tell me how many you need and we get it done for you. Does that make sense?
That's mine.
Yeah. And that's really what it is.
Can I ask a question real quick within that?
Sure.
Okay. Can you maybe just elaborate on, especially the first call follow up after someone's requested information, or you've put them in the CRM and the spreadsheet? Now it's time to make the phone call. Is there any? Do you ever actually include any pitching within that, or do you keep it more to the point of just following up to see if they're still interested, or is there anything in particular you try to keep in mind with that very first call from the follow up?
The main thing I want to see if they're interested or not. It's just like, hey, Carlton, just calling to see, you know, one, if you're still interested in if you like the idea. If so, like I can kind of go over numbers with you and kind of like see like who would you be gifting this to, by the way. And then like this is where I go over like discovery questions, and I just ask like a ton of different questions because I want to learn about their business if I don't understand their business already. And then I can use that information and I can re-pitch them on what they're having troubles with, because usually it's like a pain point, right? There's a pain point like, hey, we're always grinding out there. We're never getting referrals. We're never doing this. We're never getting appreciation. Our employees are always quitting. And like, I'm not saying that this is going to be the one all fix all, but like you hear from top CSPs all across the country all the time. Like I heard it for this morning. Like somebody was like, man, I'm a high producer and I never get any love from any of my division manager, my district manager. Like you hear it all the time. So like even in our business, like you're trying to figure out with that person, like, you know, who needs to be taken care of, who needs to be, you know, appreciated, right? And that's what that calls for. It's a discovery call to figure out if you can actually help them. And if you can help them, then you can provide the service, and the service is like, it's a no-brainer. Like the sale is easy. It's not even about the sale. It's like if you can actually solve their problem, and if you can solve their problem, then you can move into the next step. Like Calvin Lopez is one of my best clients. I'm just kidding. So, but yeah, that's kind of really it. It's just kind of like it's a discovery call to see if it's a good fit between you and the business owner. Because sometimes they're like, "Oh, hey, I'm brand new. I only have 2 deals a month. I have no employees. I have nothing." I was like, "Oh, well, you should probably call me when you get some business, and I can kind of help you. Or we can create a campaign for you, which is like a prospect campaign, and we can send out 10 of these lockbacks to your 10 top builders or whoever your property developers, whomever is sending you business. Like we can help you get those introductions in front of those people using some of our gifting ideas. So there's just different angles is how you can use the gifts. But the biggest thing is just making the phone calls. That's it. The systems for drop shipping are just like when you use branding tools and you just kind of automate everything. I mean, I just have a video on basically this is an example how to use our drop shipping program, and they just submit it, and then we can personalize every single item to that business owner. Hey, thank you for buying this. Right, here's a personalized gift, and that costs like an extra like $20 per for the client per gift. You just kind of tack it on. It's going to cover drop shipping and cover like administration fees and a bunch of other stuff.
Do you, out of curiosity, and I know both are great in their own ways, do you mostly use branding tools, or do you use Olean, or do you do a little of both? I'm just curious.
What I found, and I think they're trying to work on a whole new business gift engraving in Cutco. That's what the rumors are. But what I found right now is like branding tools is great because they get to you kind of have a little more wiggle room and more flexibility and more options with them. Like I send all our business cards there and we insert them in every single gift box, right? So they can insert that and I can add more stuff and maybe I can leave some giftology books there. And we're thinking about putting some t-shirts there, right? With our like logos and stuff like that. So I can do all this extra stuff with them. So it's like a little more customizable, but it costs more. And then if I ever engrave like a block set, I send it to Cutco because Tony would charge you. Tony would charge you for that shipping cost.
I have also heard those rumors about some revamped things in Olean, but that's awesome. So it's definitely some unique services that Tony and Branding Tools are able to offer right now.
Yeah, basically, if you pay him, he'll kind of do a lot for you.
I mean, well, I do love throwing money at problems, so that's awesome. Yeah. Well, guys, we're quickly approaching the hour mark, which is no limit on us, but I want to be respectful to Joseph. Does anyone have any last questions for us?
I have just a quick one.
Sure.
I got the document that you'd posted that has like the videos in it, but you also were doing that kind of step-by-step document of like your follow-up strategy. Were you able to post that one too?
Let me see real quick.
Because that was super helpful and it's just nice to see everything laid out in one cohesive structure like that.
Yeah, and like I always tell everybody, this is that's kind of like my process. Your follow process can be a little differently, but that's kind of what I like to do. You know what I mean? And it's funny because sometimes you'll have salespeople call you and call you and call you and text you and do all this stuff, and then I'm like, oh, that was a good one. That was good how you followed up with me on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and steal that. So like always kind of be guess like implementing, I guess. You gotta find that document again.
So in this like follow-up process, like I'm bad at this. I'll follow up a few times. And then if they kind of stop responding or I feel like stop engaging, then I feel like I'm bothering them. How do you kind of get get past that? Or, you know, if somebody really like kind of stops engaging with you, do you have any kind of ways to re-engage them or just kind of confirm that they are still interested when maybe they've given you interest, but then they just kind of fall off?
Yeah, right. So instead of like being the dead horse is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
So my favorite thing to do is I straight up just ask people, I'm like, hey, Kelly, is this something that you're actually interested in? Because like I don't want to bother you. And then they'll be like, no, I'm super interested. Like keep following up. I'm just super busy and I got to talk to a couple people. Or they'll be like, no, just send me an email and we'll get back to you if we're interested. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm just gonna assume that's a no and that's okay. I'll go ahead and send you an email. Thanks. And that's it. Just kind of move on with my life.
So be direct and just ask them.
No, I realized like working all these industry events and talking to all these business owners, like the more just residential too, is the more transparent you are and the way you let people know how things actually work and like what you're going to do with your time and how you're going to follow up and stuff. The more direct you are and the more transparent, the more you sell or the more you just get rid of the people that are not interested because like the name of the game is prospecting. And if you're not prospecting, if you're prospecting, but you're not doing it well, you're just getting leads that are not interested. And then it becomes annoying. So like, I always like to say prospect hard, qualified hard is what you should do. And then close soft. Because like the close should be really easy if you can help the person, if it's the right person that you're talking to in front of you. And if it's the wrong person, then the sale is going to be freaking hard because you're talking to the wrong person.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Damn. Qualify hard, close soft. That's a takeaway. That's a nugget right there. So I will just say I'm really big on anytime I write a talk, I have, and this is just nerdy process for me, but I have like a thesis statement. It's like, what is my overarching thought about this just to help keep me moving in the right direction? And you had the line there where you talked about the difference between educating business owners on our gifting services rather than just showing them really great knives. And like that right there is the difference between even in myself. I'm not anywhere close to the level of most of y'all, but when I look at the switches where I've had a lot of success with business gifts, it's definitely when I am a service and a resource and I'm offloading stress and distraction from their calendar versus just going like, man, Cutco's cool. But your customers would think it's cool. Don't you think it's cool? That is like such a great way to encapsulate so much of what you're doing, and I freaking love that. Joseph, this is incredible, man. I like I said, I want to be respectful for your time. I just want to say thank you. We're so lucky to get a chance to hear from you, and not just here. Ever since, I got to tell you, I've known you and liked you for years, and even when we worked great together, and even the times we've had to work through things too, I've still enjoyed the process. But it was definitely the Houston Rodeo meeting back in as we were going into 2020, before all the pandemic stuff. You know, you gave a talk and it just blew me away, and I knew this was something you were good at, but I just didn't know how good you were at teaching it and articulating it, and how systematized you had things. And I think there's a lot of good salespeople in Cutco, but they're good salespeople. They're not good systems people. And I have a lot of respect for people that have embraced the discipline of running an organized, sustainable business, and that's so much of the groundwork you laid, and it just commands so much respect. So, man, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. Like we understand and we value the content you're bringing, and I appreciate that you came here with such an open book. That was some next level stuff. So, any last parting thought? Anything else we need to know about business gifts, or you, or your favorite sporting team?
We all know that the sporting team that we both probably like are they're the Dubs. You guys are in Dallas. I'm a Dallas fan, you know. So.
I was gonna say we're just gonna go let's go Mavs for right now. That's all we have. So that's all we do. And stars. All right. Well, Joseph, we love you, buddy. Appreciate you. You're welcome to stick around. But thank you for your time, and we can't wait to see you at Dangerfield. We can't wait to connect with you here really soon.